Welcome, everyone, to the April 2nd public meeting for the town of Conception Bay South, and I hope everyone had a safe and enjoyable Easter weekend. We'll start off, as we always do, with our land acknowledgement. The town of Conception Bay South would like to respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We also respectfully acknowledge Labrador as the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Innu of Nitassinan, the Inuit of Nunatsiavut, and the Inuit of Nunatuavut. We strive for respectful partnerships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. We'll start off with the adoption of the meeting agenda for tonight. Moved by Councillor Hardy, seconded by Councillor Barrett. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. And here we go. And next we'll have the adoption of the meeting minutes from March 19th meeting. Be it so resolved that the minutes of the meeting of March 19th be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Tilley, seconded by Councillor Hillier. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Business arising from the minutes, as always, will be dealt with at this meeting and meetings in the future as we move forward. And next I'll turn to proclamation. We have one proclamation this evening for Tourism Week. Whereas the town of Conception Bay South recognizes the integral role of tourism in building attractive, livable communities that nurture our culture, heritage, and environment, and whereas tourism serves as a significant source of economic activity, generating jobs and prosperity within our province, and contributes to the quality of life and well-being of our communities, and whereas tourism also creates opportunities for individuals and families to enrich their lives by experiencing the diverse people, cultures, and natural beauty of Newfoundland and Labrador and Conception Bay South, and whereas Indigenous tourism in Newfoundland and Labrador is experiencing remarkable growth, empowering Indigenous communities to preserve and share their rich cultures and stories with the world, and whereas we are committed to raising awareness about National Tourism Week and our community's tourism potential, fostering collaboration among tourism organizations, businesses, and partners in the province and our town. Whereas we acknowledge the Tourism Industry Association of Canada as the national organization representing the breadth of Canada's tourism sector, and Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador as the Provincial Tourism Industry Association, both of whom play vital roles in advancing the interests of our tourism industry. And therefore, let us honor and thank those working in the tourism industry who share their knowledge, energy, and abilities by proclaiming April 15th to 19th, 2024, National Tourism Week in the town of Conception Bay South. And in doing so, I, Mayor Bent, encourage all residents to celebrate the transformative power of tourism in our community and throughout the nation. That was a very long proclamation for a very important subject matter, but I want to also say that Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador is hosting their Tourism Week luncheon right here in Conception Bay South on April the 18th. So we're very pleased to have that organization launch their week and have their luncheon right here in CBS. Okay, new business. We'll start right to my right. Deputy Mayor Goss, lead us away.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. Just a couple of things, not much this evening. Just want to speak to the last week we had our ATV pilot project public information session. And this falls under enforcement. Enforcement falls under my committee, the Administrative Services Committee. So I had the pleasure to chair the sessions, and we had most of council was in attendance at one or the other, and we had great turnout. Lots of feedback, lots of passionate people, whether you were in support of or not in support of. It was certainly, it was really good for council to be in that room and hear the residents share their viewpoints. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that came out, and we are in the coming couple of weeks, we'll be reviewing submissions, and we'll be sitting down and having our conversation about our path forward here on this topic. Yeah, so that's it. That's it for me this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Goss. Councillor Barrett.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I also had the opportunity to attend the ATV sessions, or certainly one of them, and again, want to reiterate the Deputy Mayor's thanks and folks that attended, and it's all useful regardless of the side you land on. This isn't a checkbox activity for us. We're truly interested in all the things that folks have brought up, and we'll actively consider that in the path forward. So echo those comments, Deputy Mayor, and thanks folks for your feedback on all of those important things. I also wanted to mention that the town is actually initiating a new community awards program this year. And so folks might remember our sports awards, volunteer awards, some of these things. And so we're doing a bit of a different spin on that this year. We're having an awards gala that's going to take place on May 23rd. And during this event, we're going to have our sports awards, our community awards, but we're also introducing a new series of awards, the Arts and Culture Awards as well. And it was loud and clear in our Recreation and Cultural Master Plan that we need to promote and recognize the arts and culture community in our town. And certainly over the past couple of years, I feel like we've been doing that. And this is just another step that we're taking to honor and celebrate artists in our community. And so please keep that date in mind, and please keep nominations in mind. These nominations open next week and they're due on May 2nd. And so please keep all that in mind and check our town website for more details. That's it for me. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just got to one item for this evening. Just want to wish good luck to all of our minor hockey teams who are traveling across the province this week. It's an annual tradition every year to have the Olive Land tournaments throughout different parts of the province. So we wish the best of luck to all of those teams that are traveling outbound. And of course, good luck to all the teams that are traveling into Concession Bay South, because I believe there are 2 tournaments scheduled for our rinks this week. So we got a large group of kids in there. So best of luck to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Councillor Hardy.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. Just want to do a reminder now for the Ward 4 area. Construction is going to begin to replace the Seal Cove Trailway Bridge this coming Monday, April 8th. So just want to let everyone know in that area it's going to be impassable at the location of Dowdens Road. The boat launch will not be accessible to boats. And the motorists and pedestrians are asked to exercise extra caution and be mindful of the construction. The workers, going to be lots of workers and equipment in the area. So just be mindful of that. And the contractor is going to access the site via the Lears Road and the Dowdens Road. And the project is expected to take about 3 months, but certainly everyone is looking forward to the work being completed. So I think everyone will be okay with a little bit of disruption for a few months. So that's it for Ward 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hardy. Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one thing this evening, I noticed going through the town today, the school-age children enjoying their Easter break on their bicycles and their skateboards, as we had a half decent day, cold, but yet nice to get around in. The sun is nice and bright. So I just want to remind residents, keep an eye out because they're enjoying their Easter break. And also, too, it was great to see kids over the ball field across the street from me having a fine time, having a game of ball. And I certainly remember my own kids. They lived over there once the weather got great. So just be mindful and keep an eye on them. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship. A couple of weeks ago, Shoreline did an article on Miss Churchill's last day. Elizabeth was a teacher a few years younger than me, but I watched her grow into her career. She's a long-time resident of Conception Bay South. So, Your Worship, on behalf of the town, I want to congratulate her on her stellar career in education. I want to thank her for the impact she's had on the children of Conception Bay South. and wish her luck and good health during her retirement life, and hope she gets a nice little gig to fool around with in her spare time. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Hillier. Councillor Connors, have we done you yet?
No, sir, no.
It's your turn.
Thank you. I just want to mention the nominations are open for the 2024 Newfoundland Labrador Seniors of Distinctions Award, and which recognise seniors throughout our province who have contributed to their communities, or contributed to the province, or even contributed to the country as a whole. So I'm going to ask if we have a number of residents in Conception Bay South that would certainly qualify for this prestigious award, and I would highly suggest that groups or individuals or organizations represent some of their members to or nominate them for this award, and that the nomination process closes on May 17th. So please consider someone in Conception Bay South for this prestigious award.
Thank you, Councillor Connors. Just a couple of things this evening. Councillor Barrett touched on the new awards with regards to promoting arts and culture in our community. I just want to touch on a couple of things that have happened over the last week or so. I had the great pleasure of attending the Theatre CBS's newest production of Duckish, and hats off to Susan Bonnell and her rendition, I guess, or her adaptation of Tom Dawes' books with regards to ghost stories from here and afar. And it was just it was a wonderful evening, a great troupe. They did a fantastic job of it, and they did it in a theater of the round. So you were right there where the actors were right in the middle of the space down at Manuel's River, and they did a fantastic job, and hats off to them. And I'm sure there'll be nominations coming their way. And also last weekend I was at Worsley Park for Studio 5, had their latest art show, and they always do a tremendous job. And I know that we work with them and others to put off a similar event during our 50th anniversary that was outside their normal show, and hope we're going to do that again this year. But the Studio 5 group, Tessa Crosby and company, do a great job, and the artwork there was simply amazing. Yes, provincial hockey weekend, as Councillor Tilley mentioned, Thursday, they're kicking off an under 15 provincials down at the CBS Arena. So good luck to all of them, and welcome to Conception Bay South. They're coming from Labrador and the West Coast and Central, and I believe the Peninsula. And so it'd be great to have them here for the weekend of hockey. And I want to say hats off to and congratulations to two CBS residents that are up for Sport NL awards coming up over the next week or so. Gord Farrell, who is a soccer official from Conception Bay South, and he officiates all over the province really when needed, is nominated for Official of the Year for Sport NL. And Krista Tobin, also with soccer, is nominated for Executive of the Year. And if you remember, Krista won the Town of CBS Executive of the Year. She also won the Newfoundland Labrador Soccer Association Executive of the Year. So good luck to Krista and her nomination for Executive of the Year with Sport NL. So prestigious, and it's wonderful to see Conception Bay South residents nominated at the provincial level. Okay. On to the people's business, and we always start with recommendations of planning and development, and that is Chair Councillor Gerard Tilley.
Thank you, Worship. The following are recommendations from our Planning and Development Committee meeting held on February 26th. Item 6A, number 29, Chatwell Crescent. Be it so resolved that in accordance with section 6.7.3 of the town's development regulations, the application number 3668 received on February 15, 2024 for home office at number 29 Chatwell Crescent with occasional use of the accessory building for equipment maintenance be approved. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Hillier, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. We actually met with the applicants at our last committee meeting, and we're certainly agreeable to the proposed type of work that that's going to be occurring at home at that time.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Item 6B, number 29 to 33, Lawrence Pond Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with sections 3.12 and section 10.11 of the town's development regulations, the variance request received on February 19th, 2024 for the application number 3126 for a single dwelling at 2933 Lawrence Pond Road with a variance to reduce the minimum building line setback to 10.8 meters be approved. So moved.
Seconder, Deputy Mayor Goss, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, the applicant is seeking a minor variation to the building line setback that is required in the town's regulations. The regulations reflect setbacks from Lawrence Pond Road to accommodate future road improvements. And of course, as you are aware, we already have those road improvements done. And so it's the committee's opinion that the proposed setback is consistent with the adjacent dwellings on that street.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Item 6C, 4850 Indian Pond Drive. Be it so resolved that in accordance with section 5.3.2 of the town's development regulations, that application numbers 3683, 3686, 3687, 3688, 3689, received on February 26, 2024, seeking approval of 5 existing accessory buildings with 42.66 square meters of cumulative lot coverage at civic number 4850 Indian Pond Drive be refused in consideration that the total lot coverage of proposed accessory buildings at the property already exceeds the lot coverage of the dwelling on the property. And further, be it so resolved that the town initiate a non-compliance file seeking the removal of all accessory buildings constructed or placed at 4850 Indian Pond Drive in the absence of a permit from the town. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Item 6D, 131 Peachtown Road. Be it so resolved, be it so resolved that in accordance with section 10.7 and 10.11.2 of the town's development regulations, application number 3684 received on February 26, 2024 for a hobby farm use at 131 Peachtown Road be approved for a maximum of 4 hens on condition that the property owner register with the provincial farm premises ID program. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hardy, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, we advertised a proposal to keep a few hens at the property. And although we had a few concerns from the neighborhood, we're confident that the small number of chickens, not hens, I'm sorry, and the proper management of those animals by the homeowner, there should be no major impact to the neighborhood.
Any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Item 6E,
Excuse me, Councillor Tilly, I have to declare a conflict on this as of a relative who lives in the close proximity.
Item 6E, 6670A, Ribbridge Road. Be it so resolved that application number 3732 received on March 19, 2024 for a single dwelling at 6670A Ribbridge Road be approved, subject to Service NL approval of the proposed private on-site well and septic systems. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, a new lot was subdivided from the rear of the property that fronts onto Emma's Place. Emma's Place is number 13 on the town's water and sewer priority list, so it will be a few years before the town install services in that particular area. In the meantime, the owner would like to develop the property with a private well and septic system in the same manner as all the other houses on Emma's Place. And of course, they'll need a permit for a septic system from the province. So as long as they meet that criteria, the planning committee is recommending acceptance.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And 6F, our blanket committee report. Before I read the blanket recommendation, just want to touch on one particular item there for White Hill Pond. It's a proposed provincial environmental assessment for a proposed quarry near White Hill Pond and Seal Cove. The town is strongly suggesting that the provincial government undertake a cumulative environmental impact assessment for this and this existing application, as well as any proposed quarries in that area. We've previously asked government to consider that approach, and we're hopeful that they will appreciate our point of view. If and when there is a development application, the people of the town and neighborhood will have the opportunity to make their comments and any potential concerns known to the town. In the meantime, public can make comments on the environmental assessment directly to the province, or if they can provide their comments to us, and we'll ensure that it gets passed along to the provincial government. So be it so resolved that the discussions and decisions of the February 26, 2024 Planning and Development Committee meeting be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Deputy Mayor Goss, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And that's it from the Planning and Development Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Now recommendations from Engineering and Public Works. The chair is Councillor Melissa Hardy. Seconder, Councillor Butler, discussion? Any other discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, nice to see work continuing on this project. We know that we've got residents down in Seal Cove with projects that they'd like to move on in terms of development, and they're being held up by concerns over flooding and so on. And this study will certainly give us a path forward as to how we can deal with that.
Yeah, proper path forward is what we need. Any other discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried.
And before I read out the blanket recommendation, I just want to remind residents, the town actually has a waste disposable assistance program for those that have private septic systems with no access to the municipal sewer criteria, sanitary sewer. The criteria and the steps can be found on the town's website if any residents would like to look into that further. So 7B, Engineering Public Work Committee meeting, be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions of the Engineering and Public Works Committee held on March 27, 2024 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Hillier, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Hardy.
Thank you.
Recommendations from Recreation and Leisure Services Committee. Chair is Councillor Josh Barrett.
Thank you, Your Worship. So light on the recommendations this evening. I just have the blanket, but before I get to that, I did want to notify residents that our outdoor ice rink has wrapped up for the season. We had a good run, and I know a lot of us here and a lot of residents enjoyed that. But the warmer weathers and spring turning a corner, we're getting ready to enjoy some different seasons. And so we are pretty much spot on to where we ended it last year. And so I think we can say it was a success, and looking forward to using it again, hopefully in later this year. So that said, recommendations from our March 26th committee meeting, be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions of the Recreation and Leisure Services Committee meeting on March 26, 2024 be accepted as presented. So moved.
We have a seconder, Councillor Connors. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Barrett.
Thanks.
We're working with a new system here, so things keep popping up in front of us when we're trying to read the screen. So trying to move them away and remember where we were. So next up is recommendations of Financial and Administrative Services Committee, and the Chair is Deputy Mayor Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. The recommendations of Financial Administrative Services Committees are as follows. 9A is accounts payable checks. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $576,149.47 as per the attached report. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Barrett, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Okay. Next item is 9B, manual checks. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks totaling $34,521.43. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hardy, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Okay. Next item is 9C, direct payments register. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify direct payments totaling $460,695.55. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Barrett, discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried.
Next item 9D is the capital invoice approval. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $23,837.19 as per the attached report. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Connors, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Didn't get, okay. Next item,
Somebody hasn't voted
Sorry.
somewhere.
pardon me?
Somebody hasn't voted according to
Yeah,
this.
no, it didn't come up, but.
There it goes.
Yeah,
good.
all right. 9E, tax and other receivables. Be it so resolved that approval be given for tax and other receivable adjustments as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And the last item is 9F, and that's the department report. Be it so resolved that the decisions and recommendations of the Financial and Administrative Services Committee meeting held on March the 25th, 2024 be accepted as presented. Following items were discussed. MNL Symposium, ATV Consultants, CCFBF Agreement Independent Auditor Reports, Municipal Assessment Agency Board of Directors Update, and our department reports. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
That's it.
Here we go. And recommendation of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee is Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's only the blanket recommendation this evening from our committee meeting of March 26th. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of March 26, 2024 be accepted as presented. And you see a list of items that were discussed there and also in our minutes. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Connors, discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Butler. Other committee reports, I believe, there we are. We actually have something in the list to start with, the naming committee, and the naming committee is going to be Councillor Barrett. It's going to take that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. We had another naming committee meeting last week, last Thursday. The date was March 28th. March 28th, sorry. So these recommendations come from the March 28th naming committee. Be it so resolved that Rachel Drive and Jacob Lyle Street be approved as the street names for the proposed subdivision at 163 to 177A Conception Bay Highway. And further, be it so resolved that, subject to approval of the St. John's Regional Fire Department, Viola and Regular Memorial Playground be approved as the name for the playground near Tamara Place within the Lawrence Pond Estates subdivision. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Counselor Hardy. Any discussion?
These are just names put forward from the developers. They're all related family names based on the family of the developers.
Yeah, typically the developer recommends names
That's
for
right.
streets and.
We
and
vet
so
them accordingly.
Yes. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Are there any other committees reporting this evening outside the normal ones we host here? Nope. Okay, so that's it for this evening. So thank you, everyone, and we'll be back here for a public meeting on April the 16th. And with that, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment. Councillor Tilley, seconded by Councillor Hardy. All in favor? Contrary minded? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.